Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Meghnad. In the previous module, we learned how to create a table. Now in this module, we're going to learn how to insert records, so how to insert data. So let's get started. Now for that, let me open MySQL. So I just click on start and go to this MySQL. And I'm opening this MySQL workbench and connect to the MySQL. So let me maximize this. I already have opened it, so that's why it didn't ask for the password. So now you can see here. So in the previous module, we have created a table. So we created database HRMS, and then we created a table, which is employee. So when you click on this here, you will see this, the columns here. This is the table that we created. So we have ID integer, name varchar 30, salary integer, date of joining, email ID, and age. So this is the table that we created. Now in this module, we're going to learn how to insert records for the table. So let's get started. Now, creating a table is done using create table. That's a DDL command. Now, insert, update, delete, and select. These are DML commands. So in this module, we'll be learning how to insert records for this employee table. Now, right now, before you add, let's check how many records we have in the table. So how to check the number of records or how to check the data is simply type select star from employee. Star indicates all the columns and from employee and no where condition. So it should return all the records in employee table. Now you can see here, I don't have any records right now because we just created the table. So we don't have any records in this. So now we're going to learn how to insert records. Now, if you want to keep this query editor as it is and open other query editor, you can just simply click on this plus here. That'll open a new query editor. So you can see here. So already the previous one is here and the new one is here. Now I'm just holding control button and mouse scroll to increase the font. So you can see here the font has got increased or reduced and increased. Now let's insert the records. Now to insert the records in the table, you need to know what columns you have given while creating the table. So that you can know by simply clicking on this. You will see at the bottom. If you're not seeing here, you can just expand it and you can expand the columns. You will see these are the columns. Now, or you can also use a command called DESC and then just type employee table name. So that is going to describe your table that you created. So here you can see this is the table that I created. So DESC describe employee table or table name. It'll show you the columns ID, name, salary, date of joining, email ID, and age, the data types that you have given. So now let's try to understand how to insert records. Now I click on new query again. Now we're going to learn how to insert records, or I can type it here itself. Let me delete this. Let's write the insert command. So first you have to write insert into employee table and then give the column names. I'm giving the column names here: ID, name, salary, date of joining, email ID, and age. So I'm writing insert into employee. The respective column names, I just typed it from here by saying this: ID, name, salary, date of joining, and then you can write here values. So insert into employee. For these columns, respective values that I need to add. So I can write here, let's take ID is 1001, name is Meg, and salary in the same order. So for numbers, you don't have to give single quotes, but for strings and date, you have to give single quote. So now I'm writing ID, no single quote because it's number. Name, I'm using single quote. Salary, no need of single quote, it's 20,000. And date of joining, yeah, here you need to be careful. So date of joining, you need to give in year, month, date format. So right now, if you see the year is, you can see 2024, 26th June. So I'm going to write here year and then month. So what is a month? June. And then date 26. Now, the next one is we have date of joining is done. Email ID. I'm just writing some email ID here. My email ID. So meghnad@gmail.com. And now there is a mistake here because it's a string. I have not given single quote. So you have to give single quote for a string. Just single quote. just write single quote. Now I just reduce the font size. Now we are giving in the same sequence. ID we have given, name we have given, salary we have given, date of joining, email ID, and age. Let's write some dummy value and close it. So this is how you have to insert the record. So right now we have just written the query, you've not executed it. So now you just need to click on select this and click on execute button. Select both the lines and then click on execute button here, and that will insert the record. Now how to verify if the record got added? Just go to the other query where you have written the select command and just select it, click on execute. Now you'll see that we have added one record. Now there is another way to do it. You might be thinking, every time I need to add record, do I need to give the column names? So if you're giving all the column names, then you don't have to do it. So you can also insert without giving column names. How to do that? Let's say this. Now, so you can also write like this, insert into employee. Values, you can directly write the values. So now I'm not giving the column names, I'm directly giving values 1002, and I'm writing here Rajesh or some name, and write here some value. And then date of joining, let's take a join yesterday, 2024, and 06 and 25. And then some value test@test.com, some email ID, and then some dummy value 25. And now you can select this and click on execute. So now it's also a good practice once you're done with your command, putting a semicolon as separators. Right now, if you see, I see a red line here below this insert, because for the previous query, I have not ended it. So it's getting confused with, so just put semicolon here that terminates your previous query, and you'll not see error here. So adding semicolon at the end of the query is a good practice. So just need to keep that. Now I need to execute this. Let me put semicolon here and let's execute this. Now you can see here, this also got added. So if you're giving all the column values, then you can either give the column names and then put values, or you can simply write insert in employee values, directly can put the values. Now let's verify whether, so if you execute it again, it'll insert one more record because we have not added any constraints. So now if I go to this query editor and click on select, and you will see that I have two records. Let me zoom it. So I have a software called Zoom It to install to zoom this. Let me see if I can zoom it and show you the records, right? So now you can see here we have two records added. Now let's go back to MySQL and let's try to execute this query once again. So sometimes by mistake you will execute two times. So let me try to select this and execute it one more time, and let's see if this gets added. Now I executed it, and I'll go to query editor, and if I do select star from employee, and you will see here I have this again got executed. So ideally an employee cannot have, two employees cannot have the same employee ID. So I should not have allowed this to happen. So I should, if I try to execute the same employee ID, I should have given an error. Because we don't have any constraints for the table, it is actually allowing to execute the same employee ID again and again and again. So you'll get some duplicate values. So we are not having or maintaining the business integrity here. So this should not be allowed. And that is the reason why you have to learn constraints. So if I would have added a constraint called primary key for this column, it would not have allowed duplicate values. So in this module, we just learned what are the two ways of inserting records. So using insert into with the column names and added this, and insert into values directly. Now you might be wondering when to give column names and when not to give column names. Let's take, for example, I want to add only the partial records. I don't have email ID and age for a particular employee, but I still need to add these details. Now let's take, I'm giving 1003. And I'm writing here some name called Kiran, and I don't have these values as of now. I'll put brackets here. Now if I try to execute this, because I want to give this update this employee and age later, I'm trying to give only 4 records, 4 columns. If I try to execute it, I'll get an error saying like the column is mismatched. Number of columns are more and the values that I'm providing is not matching. So if I execute this, so you'll see I'm getting an error. So column count does not match because I didn't mention the column name. So when you have to give the column name is if you are inserting the records, the columns which are less than the total size of the columns, you have to give the column name here. So that's why I'm writing here ID, name, salary, and data joining. So in this case, I'm clearly telling that only add these 4 columns right now. I'm not going to add these 2. So these 2 will be null. So if I select this and semicolon, anyway, it's now let me click on execute. Now also I'm getting an error. So here I can see manually corresponds to SQL version, error in SQL syntax at line 2. Okay, so now actually the mistake is this values should be after the column name. So I've done mistake here. Let me delete it and then put the first insert in employee column names, and then you have to write values for the respective columns. So ID I've given this, name I have given this, salary I have given this, and date of joining I've given this. Let me try to execute this. Now you can see that the record got added. Now you might get a doubt what happened to these 2 values which we didn't supply here for this Kiran. So let's go to this query and do select star from employee, and you can see here that these 2 values are null. Okay. So this is where you have to give the column names. If you are actually giving all the values, then column names are optional. Directly you can write insert in employee values. But if you're giving values for some columns, you have to give the column names and the respective values. Okay. So, and if you want to delete the records, you don't need to, I mean, if I don't want to have all these records, I just need to delete these records. You can simply write delete from employee. That will delete all the records. Be very careful when you're using delete and make sure to use where condition. So right now I'm writing here delete from employee. So I don't need any of these values right now. So if I do this delete from employee, let me click on execute. And I'm getting an error here right now saying like you're using safe mode on. So yeah, by default, when you install MySQL, it'll actually, because I'm not using where condition. So let me disable that safe mode for now. So go to file and now go to edit and preferences and go to SQL editor. And at the bottom, there'll be something called safe updates. Uncheck it, click OK, and reopen your MySQL. So I'm just closing MySQL. And let me click on start again, open MySQL. Let's try to execute the delete command now. So I'm connecting to my database. And okay, my caps lock is on. So let me give root now. So now let's try to delete. Before that, let me check how many records I have. So now, so I'm going to write here, select star from employee. And let me execute it. You can see you have these records. Let me try to delete the records now. Delete from employee. Now select this line and execute. Gone. So now let me try to select star from employee. So my records are gone. I've just deleted them, right? So what we have learned in this module, we learned how to insert records in 2 ways, with the column names and without column names. And we also learned how to delete the records from employee. Okay. So in the next module, we're going to learn different constraints in SQL. Thank you and see you in the next module.